Most people recovering from a C. difficile gut infection react to 5 everyday types of foods, and there's a lot of confusion as to what foods those are. We hear from people almost every day asking us questions like, what kinds of foods won't flare up my C. difficile symptoms? Or what foods will make my C. diff symptoms worse? After a C. diff infection, your gut just won't be the same for a while. The lining becomes inflamed, the microbiome shifts, and foods that once felt fine can suddenly bring on cramping, bloating, diarrhea, or even fatigue after meals. In this video, you'll learn why C. diff makes foods hard to tolerate, common C. diff trigger foods, and what can you eat during C. diff recovery, and 6 tips to tame those C. difficile food flares. Hi, I'm Michelle Moore, and I help people recover their gut, their immune system, and their microbiome naturally after infections and antibiotics. While I am a microbiologist and a holistic health educator, I am not a doctor. This video is for educational purposes and should not be considered medical advice. And if you need medical advice or help on which foods are right for you, be sure to discuss with your medical doctor. You're watching the 10-part C. diff diet series where I share practical and science-backed ways to eat for gut healing and long-term recovery. After a C. diff infection, when your gut is still sensitive, even small changes in food can throw things off. Problem foods are common during recovery. They're just signs that your digestion is still recalibrating and your gut has not fully healed yet. You might notice loose stools, urgency after meals, cramping and gut pain, bloating and gas, fatigue, brain fog, and even nausea after meals. Now, this doesn't mean there's a problem or you're doing something wrong. It just means that your gut environment is still healing. So here's what's going on inside the gut. C. diff toxins and inflammation make the digestive tract hypersensitive to certain ingredients, especially sugars, rough fibers, and certain chemical ingredients. On top of that, your bile acids and enzymes shift, so fats don't digest as smoothly. And when the gut microbiome is disrupted, and we call that dysbiosis, you can temporarily lose the ability to tolerate lactose and high FODMAP foods, and I'll discuss what those are in just a bit. Almost everyone recovering from C. difficile has some problem foods, but that list is different for every person. The good news is that these reactions are usually short-term. As your gut lining repairs and your microbiome rebuilds, most of these food sensitivities fade with time. Everyone's C. diff food sensitivities are different, but there are many commonalities. Certain foods show up again and again in what people report as problem foods. These are the ones that tend to irritate an already inflamed GI system, or they'll feed the wrong kinds of microbes inside the gut. Let's start first with sugar and sweets. Now, simple sugars are easy fuel for harmful bacteria and yeast, which are especially prevalent after antibiotic use. Now, after C. diff, that imbalance can show up as more gas, bloating, or sudden urgency. Next are fatty foods and some red meats. Now, when your bile acids and enzymes are still off balance, your gut can't break down fats efficiently, so greasy meals can trigger loose stools and discomfort. Red meat itself can be a healthy food, but during an active C. diff infection, higher fat cuts of meat may simply be harder to handle until your digestion settles down. And here's an important clarification about fats and C. difficile. Many studies say that high-fat diets worsen C. difficile, but most of that research is actually based upon Western-style high-fat diets, which are full of seed oils and refined carbs, not whole food fats like eggs, butter, or plain meats. Still, even with healthier fats, your gut may struggle with fat digestion early in C. diff recovery, and that's why easing into fats slowly often helps. Next are raw vegetables and other rough, insoluble fibers. These are another big trigger food. Some of these may be great for long-term gut health, but early on, raw salads, crunchy vegetables, fruits with skins, and nuts and seeds can scrape an already sensitive gut lining. Soft cooked veggies or peeled fruits are usually much gentler on the system. Then there's spicy foods, caffeine, and sodas. These are all stimulants that can speed up the gut and make cramping and urgency worse. Dairy is another common troublemaker, and many people will develop a short-term lactose intolerance after antibiotics, so milk or ice cream may suddenly cause gas or bloating. And one ingredient most people don't think about is carrageenan. Now, this is a thickener that's found in many dairy and non-dairy products alike, such as yogurt or ice cream. Studies show that carrageenan can inflame the intestinal lining, which is the last thing a healing gut needs. These are the foods I tell people to watch closely and start slowly after they start to feel better. Everyone's list is a little different, but most people find that either avoiding or moderating these particular foods helps calm things down and gives their gut a chance to heal. When people ask me, what can I actually eat right now? I start with one idea. Keep it soft, simple, and soothing. After a C. diff infection, your gut needs foods that don't demand too much energy to digest. The foods that go down the easiest are what I tend to call flare-friendly foods. These include things like broth, rice, applesauce, bananas, mashed potatoes, well-cooked carrots or zucchini, and plain chicken or whitefish. These are all gentle, low-fat, and low-roughage foods. Now, you've probably heard of the BRAT diet, B-R-A-T, standing for bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. Now, this is okay as a short-term bridge for those rough days, but it's too limited to stay on for a long period of time. It's missing protein, minerals, and key nutrients your immune system depends upon. So as soon as you can, move toward a more balanced, bland diet that includes soft proteins and cooked vegetables. Most of these same foods are naturally low FODMAP foods, which means they're lower in carbohydrates and they're less likely to ferment inside the gut and cause gas or bloating. So these low FODMAP foods are generally well tolerated after C. diff and even for those with irritable bowel syndrome. Now, you probably don't need to follow a strict low FODMAP diet, but choosing lower FODMAP foods for a while may help calm digestion and make eating more comfortable while your microbiome resets. Peeled foods are typically easier than raw foods early on, along with gentle proteins like chicken or eggs. And here's something most people overlook. This is a process of trial and error. Your safe food list will look different than another person's list. Some days you might tolerate a food just fine, and tomorrow you can't tolerate that food. But as your gut starts repairing, most people notice that these food tolerances get better meal by meal. When you've been focused on avoiding problem foods, it's easy to forget that how you eat can matter just as much as what you eat. While cutting out trigger foods helps, there are also habits and supplements that can help calm your gut, reduce post-meal reactions, and make eating less stressful during C. difficile recovery. These next 6 tips aren't about problem food restrictions. They're about supporting your gut while it rebuilds, regardless of which foods you're eating. First is be sure to hydrate well. Ongoing diarrhea can really drain water and minerals from your body fast, So broths, coconut water, or clean plain water are easy ways to replace what you're losing. You may need to drink more than you think. Also eat small, frequent meals. Large meal portions can trigger cramping or urgency, while smaller, spaced out meals helps keep things calmer. Don't forget to slow down and rest. Stress alone can speed up gut motility. Eat unrushed, chew thoroughly, and keep your foods warm, not piping hot. Stick with the bland but nourishing foods. Think rice or potato with poached chicken, eggs, or white fish, plus a little soft-cooked veg. These foods will help keep your energy up without irritating your GI system. Also, be sure to read labels carefully on the foods you're eating. Watch out for additives like carrageenan, which can irritate the intestinal lining. Also know what kind of support options you have. Now, while the focus here is on comfort and digestion and not treating the infection itself, certain supplements can gently support your recovery. Now, I've listed a few options here. You don't need every one of these options, but a few of them might be helpful at different stages of healing. First are immunoglobulin binders. Now, when these are taken with a meal, immunoglobulins can help bind bacterial fragments and food-related antigens, including those LPSs or lipopolysaccharides. That may help calm post-meal reactivity and make foods easier to tolerate. Immunoglobulins can also be taken away from meals or in between meals, and when you do that, it will also help bind and neutralize residual bacterial toxins inside the gut, supporting overall gut comfort and resilience. Now, there's also broad-spectrum toxin binders, such as purified cliniptilolites, or you may have heard them as zeolites. These may also help absorb unwanted microbial toxins and support gut balance while you heal, but these should be taken away from meals since they can also bind nutrients. Digestive enzymes can also be helpful. If nearly every meal brings on bloating or discomfort during C. diff recovery, a gentle enzyme blend may help your body break food down more easily and take off some of the strain from your system while your digestion recalibrates. There's also helpful supplements like L-glutamine, zinc carnosine, or DGL licorice, and these can help calm gut irritation and support repair of the gut lining, making meals feel less reactive during recovery. Bacillus spore probiotics and Sac-Boulardii yeast probiotics can also help rebalance the microbiome after antibiotics, which may reduce bloating and food-triggered flare-ups over time. Now, if you find fatty foods are causing cramping or urgency, there's also natural fiber-based bile binders. These are soluble fibers that help bind up bile acids inside the gut to reduce GI irritation. These can include psyllium husk, oat bran, apple pectin, and citrus pectin. Now, also supportive after diarrhea has resolved would be mild bitter herbs like ginger or chamomile. Do not use strong bile-stimulating herbs like gentian or artichoke early on in recovery, as you typically don't want to stimulate bile flow. Now, both the fiber-based bile binders and mild bitter herbs can help the gut handle fats more smoothly while those bile acids normalize. And lastly is magnesium, which can help calm gut tension and reduce meal-related flares, but choose gentler forms like magnesium glycinate. Forms such as magnesium citrate or oxide can really speed up gut motility, which is not ideal during active C. diff or C. diff recovery. Just remember, this phase is about calming your symptoms and allowing your gut time to heal. The goal here isn't to find your perfect forever diet, but to get through this sensitive phase with fewer flare-ups and more comfort. Once your digestion stabilizes, your body's needs will shift. The foods that help right now, those bland foods, low fat, and gentle foods, won't always be the ones that support you the best for the long term. Over time, your gut will start tolerating a wider range of foods, and your focus will move toward feeding your microbiome and supporting your immune system. One thing that really can catch people off guard is how they can quickly lose weight during or after a C. difficile infection. In the next video, I'll explain why C. diff weight loss happens and what you can do to reduce weight loss and rebuild your strength. You can watch the next C. diff diet video here when it's released, and you can watch the entire C. diff diet series over here.